Hello and welcome to Ewe Sew You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. I knit, I sew, I spin on a drop spindle, I dabble in weaving from time to time, and anything else it takes for crafty fancy. But today I thought we'd have a little bit of a check-in on how we're doing with the Make 9, so grab a brew, put your feet up and let's get started. Welcome back to any returning viewers, and to any new viewers a very warm welcome to you. Now we're interrupting our regularly scheduled programming of mid-month project and techniques and so on, because as you can see I'm not currently in my craft room. The reason for that is it's the warmest room in the house and the UK's decided to heat up this week. So I'm not going to be showing you the projects that I was intending to show you this week because I've not been working on them this week. But I will be showing them to you another time, don't worry, you're not going to miss anything. I just can't get into the sewing room at the moment and stay in there for long enough to do anything without just collapsing into a puddle. There's the UK when it's hot, we're talking sort of 23, 24 and upwards. Celsius, that is. Fahrenheit numbers scare me because they just sound too big. It's not pleasant heat. It's quite uncomfortable heat. It's sticky and damp and icky. And I just don't wear it very well. I generally spend the summer looking like a soggy beetroot, which is not a good look. So yeah, craft room stuff's not been happening. It will be happening next week. It's about the weather's meant to cool off over the weekend. We're having a bit of a peak of mid-20s and tomorrow's meant to be over 30, so that'll be fun. So I thought I'd take this opportunity as we're about halfway through the year to just have a bit of a catch up and check in on how we're doing with the Make 9. I've also got some fabrics to show you that arrived yesterday for some upcoming Minerva projects. So part of this video is sponsored by Minerva. But first of all, let's talk Make 9. Now, at the beginning of the year, I felt quite confident, thought I'd sussed the Make 9 planning process out by actually looking for gaps in my wardrobe and picking projects on that to fill my Make 9. And I do think that is the right way to go. For background context, for those of you that aren't aware, I have yet to complete a Make 9 in a year. I generally get distracted by other projects. But on my project plan for this year for 9, which is just beside me here, which is why I keep looking this way, I had 4 knitting projects and 5 sewing projects. So, knitting wise, first I had a Christmas jumper, which I do have the pattern for. I haven't started it yet. I'm aiming to start knitting that up in the autumn, so around October, November time, because that should get me done in time for Christmas. And I'm actually going to be knitting a Norwegian pattern, which is this one. It's a Norwegian Christmas jumper colourwork. It's all written in Norwegian. I don't speak Norwegian. I definitely don't read Norwegian. But that's the one I'm going to do. I'm going to be using Google Translate a fair bit, I think. I would ask my Norwegian friends on my knit nights, because I'm part of the International Virtual Knit Nights. I'll put the stuff in the box down below if you're interested in a multi-time a week meet up on Zoom to chat all things craft. There are a few Norwegians in the group, but since I can't read Norwegian and I don't have the symbols and things on my keyboard to type it in, it's going to be tricky to ask them for help because I'm not going to be able to say the words. But Google Translate I think will probably be enough because I can obviously tell the numbers. I know the numbers are the same, and the colourwork on the front is a graph, or a chart rather. So that's not going to be a problem. It's just going to be little finer details, and if I end up doing something slightly different to the pattern, it's not going to matter too much. So that's the first one. Not done yet, but not done yet because it's for Christmas, so it doesn't need to be done just yet. The next project I had on my list was a Fair Isle sweater. So I was looking at pretty much an all over Fair Isle sweater. And this one I have completed. I have knitted this sweater. This is the Terra Nova sweater. The designer's name escapes me at the moment, but I'll pop it on the screen for you. I've been meaning to knit this particular sweater for quite a long time. I've knit it in Knit Picks palette. I swatched on the 4th of February, cast on the 5th of February, and the whole sweater was finished on the 12th of April. There are 5 steeks in this pattern. It's a mixture of colourwork and lace. So yes, I mean, it did take a little bit of time, February, March, April, so 2 and a bit months. I suppose not too bad for a sweater. And I was working on other projects alongside it, which is the way things go with me. I tend to not have just the one thing on the go. So yeah, so pretty pleased with that. It's a good fit on me. I am the largest size in the pattern though, so it's not the most inclusive size-wise. Although there are instructions for altering the sleeves lengthwise in the pattern, and if you were to repeat the colourwork repeat more or less times, you would be able to adjust the circumference, the body circumference a bit. But you really shouldn't have to, although, I mean, it's an older pattern, so whether that designer has now started to increase her size range, I don't know, because I haven't knitted any of her more recent patterns. But this one is several years old. As I say, it's been on my list for quite a long time. But it's done. I love it. I would recommend giving it a go if you're within the size ranges that it covers, or if you are confident enough to work out how many more repeats of the colourwork you need to get your circumference. But otherwise, it's a shame. It's a lovely sweater. It's just a shame it's not more size inclusive. Third thing on my list is a long line cardigan, which is a cardigan design that I have in mind. I've already worked out the colourwork chart I want to go on it. So I need to sort of finesse some of the numbers and what have you. I was anticipating starting that in April or May. I'm not. I mean, I've got the swatch and I've got some sort of ideas typed out on the computer ready to go, but yeah, I've not started that one yet. We'll see if I get that in later in the year. And the final knitting pattern on my Make 9 is a scrappy sweater. I had anticipated this being a design as well, because I've had a scrappy sweater design in mind for quite some time, and I was aiming to start that again April, May sort of time. I haven't started a designed scrappy sweater, but I have started a scrappy sweater, just not the one I'm designing. I'm modifying a Flax Light into a cardigan, and cardigans count under sweaters, as we know as knitters. Although sweater in British English specifically means a pullover. So yes, a Flax Light, I'm using up the leftovers from my Terra Nova to make the Flax Light. So I am doing some modification. It's a pullover pattern, a sweater pattern. I'm steeking it into a cardigan, and I'm striping the colours until I run out of each colour, pretty much. And I want the stripes to match up on the sleeves. I haven't got as far as separating for the sleeves yet. I'm not far off. I need to put the short rows in first, because they've got the add-on PDF that comes with the pattern for short rows, and you put them in before you separate for the sleeves. This is where it gets a bit controversial with my modifications. I'm not going to separate for the sleeves. What? Yeah, essentially I'm being lazy, and I don't want to have to guesstimate how much yarn I need to leave when I finish the body stripe for the sleeves. I want to just knit until it's done. So I'm going to be steeking the sleeves from the body. And I will be doing a video when I get to that point to show you how I do it. It should work. It's steekable yarn. It's steeked fine for the Terra Nova, and I've done my numbers. So yeah, so over the next few weeks I'll be filming that in stages as I get to the relevant parts to show you how I'm going to do that. So keep an eye out for that, and if you don't want to miss it, there's the stuff down there, you know, the bell and what have you, because I don't know when that's going to come out just yet, as I'm going to be doing it as I go, but it's going to be a few weeks time, hopefully some point in July, maybe August, that sort of time. I'm hoping to have the cardigan ready for cooler nights in the summer. That's fingers crossed both for cooler nights and that it's going to be ready, but certainly by the autumn. So because I currently a normal standard length cardigan to just sort of sling over when it gets chillier that fits me properly, because as we know, size fluctuates. So that's all the knitting plans on the Make 9. Out of 4, I've done 1 and started 1. So that's not too bad. Dressmaking wise, let's start with the funnel roll neck top that I was aiming to do in February or March. I was aiming for a basic neutral coloured plain funnel neck to wear underneath pinafores and pair up with patterns, what have you. I have made a roll neck funnel neck mock turtleneck top, which that category covers, which is this one. It's the South Bank sweater. As you can see, it's neutral in colour, but it's not plain, it's striped, which is fine. I'm actually quite happy to pair my stripes with some of my print fabrics. A stripe to me is not that much different to a plain, particularly when it's in gradient colours like this one, or your sort of standard black and white, black and neutral, grey and neutral, blue and neutral, basically anything with a neutral stripe. It's essentially a plain fabric. Stripes, I think, are one of the easiest patterns to match with a contrasting pattern without causing too many issues. So that I'm quite happy with. That ticks that box off. I was aiming, as I say, February, March. It was May that I made that one in. I don't know why I waited quite so long. It was super quick, particularly with the overlocker. And I think I'm going to be making a few more when I get suitable fabric in. So the South Bank sweater, that's my roll neck / funnel neck top done. The next thing that's on my Make 9, I did think about possibly putting that same top in, and that was a long sleeve tee. The reason I haven't put the South Bank sweater into that box is because actually when I'm thinking long sleeve tee, I'm thinking more a V-neck or a scoop neck, probably a scoop neck, probably not a crew neck, because again, hot. I don't find crew necks particularly comfortable when it's warm. So having a long sleeve tee that's a scoop neck or a V-neck, I find both necklines quite flattering on me. And also when it's starting to warm up or starting to cool down at the tail end of the summer, but it's still not super cold, t-shirt material is lightweight enough for the sleeves not to bother me, but having high necks doesn't work for me. But long sleeve tee at sort of either end of summer, just before you get into proper autumn weather and just after you get out of spring weather, that sort of transitional period, that works well for me, and I can then roll that around the year as well into winter and use it as a layering piece. So I haven't made that yet. I was aiming for March or April, so I'm a bit behind on that. But there we go. I mean, most of my projects I was aiming for March to May for most of them. So I've not done too badly, really, I suppose, because there's a lot of year after April, May. It's not even halfway through the year. So that's fine. I'll be aiming to get some of those done over the summer. Also due for February, March was leggings, and also not done. I have the pattern, or at least I have a pattern that I know will work. I have the SOS pants from Patterns for Pirates, which I have made a pair of trousers out of. I made the straight leg version, which I think was an error. I think I should have gone for the actual legging type leg instead. I think that would have worked better on me, and I would have been a lot less faff to get the hems for my size, because obviously my ankles are a lot slimmer than my hips. And there was just too much fabric in the size I needed for my hips and my thighs by the time I got to my ankles, and I hadn't adjusted it before the pattern. I mean, obviously I know that now, so I can make that adjustment. But I think doing it more in a more narrow leg may have worked better for me. So I'm thinking of those for leggings. I've done the short length and they fitted perfectly fine. The straight leg, wide leg ones, they fit fine. It just wasn't quite what I was aiming for with the hemline. So yeah, so I'll probably use that pattern for leggings, and I am hoping to do more than one pair of leggings over time. Certainly one pair this year. Let's not push the boat out too far and overpromise. But we're aiming for at least one this year, and then more over the subsequent years. The good thing about the SOS pants pattern, other than it being free, I believe, I'll double check that, but I seem to remember it being free when I got it. It comes with different waists. There's a waistband that you can add on to it, rather than the narrow one that comes in the pattern. It's a curved waistband and it's a higher waistband. That's the waistband I've used for comfort reasons. And there's also add-ons to make them into moto trousers as well, so it's a nice versatile pattern. So yeah, so liking that a lot. But yeah, not made them. Still hoping to make them, but not made them yet. And the next one was a plain skirt that I was aiming to make for in June. Now, yes, I do primarily mean a plain fabric for the skirt, so that I can pair it with my prints and my patterns, but also something that's not too fussy. I quite like A-lines on me, for instance. Pencil skirts, not a good look for me at the moment. It just doesn't work for me. I always find it a bit constrictive, unless they're in a super stretchy fabric. Now, I have put down the Bastion clots, and I know I've mentioned this before, that I think they kind of fill the same gap in my wardrobe as that plain skirt would do. I can pair them with my printed tops, my fancy tops, and I can pair them with plainer tops. So that it's a nice versatile piece, and it has that silhouette of an A-line skirt. So I'm counting those towards my make 9 as the skirt gap in my wardrobe. And I know some of you were on board with that idea when I was talking about it before, and I wasn't so sure. I mean, obviously, if I do end up making a plain skirt, I will replace the Bastion culottes with the plain skirt. But for now, they are filling that gap. And the final item on my make 9 was a pair of jeans that I was hoping to make in sometime between July and August. So not even on the docket yet. Hopefully, I will actually get them made this year. They've been on my make 9 since I started doing make 9. So that's a few years now, and I've still not even got the denim for them. So yes, I need to do that. I'm thinking probably something like the ginger jeans. Although I'm not 100% sold on that pattern yet. There are so many jeans patterns out there. And I know in the past I've worn skinny jeans and they've looked alright on me, but I was a different size and a different shape at that point, so they may not be something that I'm as comfortable in at the moment. I know bootleg jeans work well for me. I know boyfriend jeans work well for me. I wouldn't go for like a full-on flare, but bootcut is fine. Boyfriend jeans are fine with that looser fit. Straight leg jeans are fine on me as well. So I've got all sorts of choices. I just need to settle on a silhouette and a colour and navigate buying jean denim online. There are fabric shops in Nottingham, I just haven't found them yet. So maybe next time I go into Nottingham I might have a hunt and see if I can find a fabric shop and see if they've got any denim. There are shops, there's a shop that sells fabric in the town that I live, but it doesn't, certainly doesn't sell denim. It's not a fabric shop as such, it's an old style department store. So we're not talking like Debenhams or anything with departments on different floors. It's all one floor. It's in what used to be Marks and Spencer. When I was growing up, that's what it's in, that building. But it's called Boys, and aside from the fabric and yarn side of things, it pretty much sells everything else bar food. Very sort of old-fashioned department store type thing, and they've got a small haberdashery section as well. So they've got some acrylic yarn in there, they've got some quilting cottons in there, they've got some curtain fabric in there, they've got needles, they've got thread, they've got zips, that kind of stuff. So they're quite useful, just not really the range of fabrics that as a dressmaker I'd be looking for. But I believe there's a few in Nottingham. Just as I say, haven't located them yet. So that's a mission for another day. So that's all my make 9s. So 9 projects, I've made 3. And we're halfway through the year. Okay, the Christmas sweater, not appropriate really at the moment. And I have started another one. So number 4 is on the go. So actually, we're not too far behind. We're a little bit behind schedule, but not too far behind schedule. If I'd have got 4 done and be working on the 5th, I'd be closer to schedule. So, c'est la vie. But yeah, not too shabby. It's certainly better than I've done in past years on Make 9. So we'll see how that goes for the rest of the year. I will obviously fill you in end of this year, beginning of next, as to how I've done on the whole Make 9. If you can hear beeping, that's my next door neighbour coming home. He's a self-employed plumber. So his van beeps as it reverses. So I'll fill you in at the end of the year, beginning of next, as to how I've done on the whole Make 9. If I get it finished before the end of the year, you never know. There might be a video saying, woohoo, I've done it. But yeah, who knows. So that's the Make 9 stuff. If you're only interested in the Make 9 things, I'll see you next time. But if you want to see what I've had arrive from Minerva, stay tuned. So, as you probably are aware, I am a Minerva Brand Ambassador, which means that I get sent some fabric from time to time and I get to make something up out of it and put a post up on their website showing it. So, a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the upcoming projects. I've still got one project on the go, which is partly what I wanted to show you some of today, but too hot to work on it. I'm making a coat, and I'm making a coat in the summer. It's not a summer coat, obviously, but I don't know what I was thinking. I should have done it. It's late anyway. I should have done it ages ago. I'm trying to finish it off in the summer. Hopefully I'll get it finished next week, but I'm doing a bit of extra work next week because my boss is away and I'm covering, which is not as highly responsible and exciting as it sounds. I work for a really small company. But yeah, hopefully I'll find time to get that done next week and get that out of the way. I'm waiting on some patterns to come for the fabrics that I'm about to show you, which is why I'm giving you a bit of a sneak peek. And I will also be putting footage from these sneak peeks on the Minerva website because I have to put them up on there before I put them up on the YouTube channel, because that's the deal. Okay, so when I was picking out my fabrics this time, I was thinking about weather. A, because I'm British and we think about and talk about weather a lot, and B, because I'm melting most of the time. So I've got 2 cottons and 1 jersey fabric. I'm not sure the fibre content on that, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so first up we have this rather glorious, brightly coloured batik style print. I don't know if it's a genuinely made in Indonesia batik or whether it's a inspired by those techniques replica. I don't know. But it is rather glorious and it is brightly coloured. So I thought it'd be fab for some summer garments. I've got 3 meters of this, and all the colours are great. And I'm actually going to be making a cord set with this. Well, I say a cord set. I'm going to be making 2 garments from different patterns to either wear together or separately, providing I can get them both out of 3 meters. So first up we have this top by Sewaholic, which I think is quite a retro sort of style top, but I think that would be rather fab in this fabric with a pair of jeans or my Deer and Doe Châtain shorts that I made year before, that I made previously as a separate. It's got that sort of 40s vibe to the style lines of it, which is a direction I'm hoping to move into with my wardrobe. So yeah, so that's exciting. Waiting for that pattern to arrive before I'm waiting for all the patterns to arrive to get started. The other pattern that I'm going to be using to make a pair of shorts to go with that top is this one. I want to say Simplicity, cannot remember the number. Again, it's got 40s style lines to it. I'm not making the top at this point in time anyway. It's not the sort of top that I would have worn when I was smaller anyway. It's certainly not the sort of top that I would wear without something underneath it. It's just not my style. And I could wear something like that over a vest, that would be fine, or over a swimsuit, that kind of thing. But it's just not the top that I'm going to be making at this point in time. But that sort of 40s style line on these shorts I think will work well for my shape, because it's a bit more flared than some shorts are, and I think it'll work well with that Sohoic top as well. So that's my cord set with the Batik fabric. The next fabric that I'm going to be working on over the next few weeks is this lovely cotton, this kind of lilac-y, periwinkly blue background colour with the navy and pops of yellow, so I thought nice and summery. This I believe is 100% cotton, and it's a good weight. So this is going to be a dress. Again, we're thinking retro, we're thinking vintage styling, and I'm going for a Jennifer Lauren handmade. So I'm going for the wrap dress here. I have previously made Jennifer Lauren handmade pattern. In fact, she was the designer for the Bastien culottes. So yeah, that's going to be good. Looking forward to that a lot. And yeah, again, 40s styling to a point. The wrap dresses are kind of 40s into 50s, I think. At least that's the vibes I get from them. But the skirt is much more slimmed down than many of the 50s silhouettes that I have in my head. So it reads more 40s to me. And the final fabric that I've got is quite weighty. I have 4 meters of this fabric. This lovely navy fabric, and it's got so much stretch in it. So much stretch. This is going to be a kilo. Now, the kilo dress has been made by The World and His Wife. But I don't think I'm going to be making the dress. I think this is going to be the jumpsuit version. I do like a good jumpsuit. I like my Deer and Doe jumpsuit that I've already made, the Sirocco. I do get a fair bit of wear out of it, but I made it in scuba. So although it's nice spring summery print, it's a winter fabric, which is a shame, but it fits well. I do like it. So yeah, so we're going with a kilo jumpsuit for this fabric. My only pause with making the jumpsuit rather than the dress is the back. Now the kilo dress has a keyhole button at the back, I believe. The jumpsuit, because you obviously need to get in and out of it, it has the button at the top, but then it's got a vent all the way down the back to pretty much the waistline, which is fine for most occasions, but I work in education, so I'm a little bit wary of using that for a work item. I think I can get away with it, because I don't think I'd be wearing it to the office in the summer. I think I'd be wearing it more in the sort of the autumn, winter, spring with a cardi over the top. So that's not going to be a problem. And I can always put something underneath it on colder days. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. And I do like the look of the jumpsuit, so I'm probably going to go with the jumpsuit. But if the vent reveals too much for me to feel comfortable wearing it in an education setting, I'll just wear something else to work. Not that much of a problem. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. I hope you found it useful and interesting, and normal service will be resumed as the weather cools down over the next few days. I aim to put a video out every weekend. Once a month is a roundup of all the things I've been working on in the previous month. So hint, this month there's going to be a lot of embroidery. Watch my Instagram feed if you're not sure what I mean by that. And in between those roundup videos, I tend to do more sort of project technique based videos. This one, as I say, is a bit of a departure from the norm. Occasionally I do these waffly type videos, but usually it's going to be this is how I'm working on this particular project, this is how I'm doing this particular type of technique, that kind of thing. So if that sounds like the sort of thing you're into, if you've just enjoyed spending some time in my company, like and subscribe down below, and I will see you next week. But until then, happy crafting and bye-bye for now.